Hello students. In the previous lecture we talked about the divergence of vector fields. In that we saw that the presence of any source causes divergence of the vector field. Whether the presence of source or sink. Then there are other sources that cause circulation of the field along a closed contour. For example, suppose there is a presence of magnetic field, then if there is a time changing magnetic field, it will cause the induction of electric field intensity. Or you can say the changing magnetic field induces electric field intensity, circulation of electric field intensity around it. These type of sources that causes a circulation, or you can call it as a curl of this vector field around it. This is called a vortex source. This was diverging source. This is a vortex source. The term vortex has been derived from the concept of rotating liquid flow, where any liquid forms a vortex. Now this circulation, let's say we have any vector field f with components along x, y in that direction. For this vector field, suppose any closed loop is there of length L, then its circulation over this loop is given by the line integral, which is a closed one, over this path. The line integral, the closed line integral over this length is given by, is mathematically called the circulation of the field over this length or contour. Let's say there is a very small infinitesimal area del S, and this is bounded by a contour of length L with a circulation in this direction, and we are interested in obtaining the circulation of this vector field. So how do we do that? In order to find out the circulation, let us project this area over the xy plane, zy, yz plane, and xz plane. Let's say we have circulation over the xy plane in this direction. And how do we choose? And say, let's say this is the loop area, then its direction will be over the along the AZ direction, and it is given by the right hand thumb rule. If you curl your finger along this direction, then the direction of thumb will represent the direction of the unit normal of this loop area. And since it is along the z direction, then let us call this area as del sz. And correspondingly, the circulation will be called as del c of z. Now, since this is an infinitesimal circulation, then we will replace this integral simply by circulation, and since there are total 4 paths, and we can write 1, 2, 4. And because this length is very small, del x is very small, del y is very small, then fx and fy or fz components in other cases will be considered as constant for a very small change of length. That means, suppose we are traversing from this point to this point. If this is the direction of the component of vector field f along y direction, then because this change is very small, this change is del y, which is very small, then fy will remain the same. Its value will be constant at the point x. Now let us calculate the net circulation. Starting from this point, and let us traverse along this point and this up to this point, and let's say this length is del x. Then what will the net circulation? The component of vector f along ax direction is fx, and the circulation direction is also in the direction of ax. Then using the formula f dot dl, we have fx multiplied by del of x at any point y. Similarly, once we have reached at this point, let us traverse in this direction up to this point. Here the length of this path is del y, and the component along the y direction is fy. Then fy multiplied by del y at any point x plus del x. That is why this will be the circulation. Now once we have reached here, let us traverse over this path along this direction. This is the minus x direction, but the component of f is in the positive x direction. Then the dot product will be negative, and this traversal is over the point y plus del y. That is why Overall we can write minus fx into del x at the point y plus del y. And similarly, once we have reached up to this point, we will finally traverse back to the original point in this direction, and this is the minus y direction, and the component of the vector is in the positive x direction, hence it is minus fy multiplied by the length of the path, which is del y, at the point x. Now let us arrange the same components fy and fx, and let us multiply and divide this expression, the del x and del y, and taking limit del x tends to 0 and del y tends to 0, we can finally obtain a partial differentiation. It should be dc here because we have taken the limit. Same way we can obtain the circulation over the yz plane, which is given by dcx, and similarly over the xz plane, which is given by dcy. Then adding up all the circulations, this must be d because we have taken the limit. It must be d everywhere. So likewise, the same expression can be written in terms of dot product, and this particular expression is nothing but the curl of the vector field. The curl, as the name suggests, we are trying to find the circulation over this path. Hence, this infinitesimal circulation can also be represented in terms of the dot product of the curl over the area, which is the area of the closed path. This is area of the closed loop or path. What we see here is that the circulation is performed over the length of the closed path, but we are able to relate it with the loop area of the closed path as well. Now let's say this is the closed path, let's say L. We are interested to calculate the circulation of the vector field F, and let's say this is the area. Let us call it as S. To change the color. Now what does this represent? The curl of vector field, let's say at any point, this is the direction of the curl of the vector field. And let's say this is the direction of the loop area. Then del cross F represents the direction of the maximum circulation of the field F at any point. That means if this is the direction del cross F, then if you take a circulation path, the normal of this area is in the direction of the curl, then in that case we can say if you take the circulation, then the circulation will be maximum. In order to find out the circulation in a direction other than del cross F direction, we simply take the dot product, which is given by the circulation of F in any direction which is normal to the contour area del S as del S tends to 0. This particular definition. Because del cross F is the direction of max circulation, and let's say this is the area we have considered and this is the direction of the loop. Then along this direction the circulation will be given by del cross F dot the unit vector of that particular loop area that we have considered. Now let's see, we have del cross, we have curl mathematically written in the form of determinant. Suppose we want to do the same for cylindrical and spherical system, we can generalize it. Let's say for example, in the case of cylindrical system, the del cross F will be given by 1 by h1 h2 h3, which is h1 h2 h3 1 upon rho, and this is the determinant. This will be a rho a phi multiplied by rho, and similarly az. So d upon d rho, d upon d phi, and dou upon dou z. This is the partial differential. We write as dou upon dou rho. And similarly f1 and rho times of f2 and rho times of f3. Not rho, this is similarly simply 1 because h1 h2 h3. This is for cylindrical system. You can do the same for the spherical. Then this is 1 by h1 h2 h3, 1 r sin theta, this will be 1 r square sin theta, and its determinant will be a r, a theta, a phi. This will be r, this will be r sin theta. Similarly dou upon dou r, dou upon dou theta, dou upon dou phi, and this will be f1, rf1, rf2, and r sin theta, f3, and you can find the determinant, and hence you can find the curl of the vector f in cylindrical as well as spherical systems. Now let us come to a very important theorem while calculating the curl of the vector field along any direction, which is given by the Stokes theorem. In divergence theorem, we saw that we are able to convert a surface integral into the volume integral. But in case of Stokes theorem, we are able to transform from line integral to surface integral. That is from line to surface. Just like we saw here that the circulation is given by the the circulation is related to the length of the path, but we just related it with the surface of the path, surface enclosed by the path. Similarly here, with the help of Stokes theorem, we can transform from line integral to surface integral. Now let's see, we just calculated the differential infinitesimal circulation, very small circulation, as del cross C, which is related by the curl of L, and it is in dot product with the area vector of that particular circulation. Let's say this is the loop area, and del cross F, del cross is let's say the direction of maximum circulation. Then in this direction, it is simply given by the dot product of the maximum value. Then let us consider an arbitrary surface. It can be surface of any geometry. Let's call this arbitrary surface. Surface. It can be any surface. Let us consider this type of surface. And let's say, as we have calculated infinitesimal circulation, then let us piece together so many infinitesimal circulations and piece them together to form a surface. Like this is a very small circulation, and then here is another circulation, and so here, and likewise so many points. There are infinite number of points that make up a bigger surface. And this surface, I want to make it clear, this is an open surface. This is not a closed surface. In divergence theorem, we had dealt with a closed surface, but here in case of Stokes theorem, we are taking an open surface, and this open surface is bound by a contour, a closed path, and let's say its direction of circulation. This is the direction of circulation. As you see here, let's say this is one one of the many infinitesimal circulation. This is another adjacent one. This is, in all these cases, as you can see, if this is the circulation in this direction, this circulation is cancelled out by the adjacent circulation. Similarly, if this is the circulation direction for this path, then for this closed path, the circulation direction is in the opposite direction. Then for this particular length, the circulation cancels out. Again, for this particular length, the circulation, the net circulation is 0. Once again, see here, this is the direction for circulation, and for this loop, this is the direction of circulation. So the net circulation is 0 along this path. So we can say that the adjacent internal contours are equal and reverse to each other, and hence the net internal circulation is 0. What are internal circulations? That the circulations that are present over the surface. The internal circulations. But same case does not happen when you reach at the boundary of the surface. What you find here, if you look at here, these all circulations add up. See? They do not cancel out each other. That is, circulations at the boundary of S, of the surface S, add up and do not cancel out. Cancel out to 0. That means there is a net non-zero circulation at the boundary. You can read the statement, only those contours forming the boundary L, this is the boundary, contribute to the total circulation C. This is similar to the case that we saw in the case of divergence theorem. Only those small surfaces that are present over the boundary, that are forming the boundary of the surface, that were contributing to the net outward flux. The same case here, only those circulations that are present at the boundary that contribute to the total circulation of C. Now, since at the surface net circulation is 0 net circulation, then we can say that for any vector field, the total circulation for that surface only depends on the circulation of the boundary and not at the surface. That means we can say finally that since the net internal circulation over the surface is 0, hence total circulation is independent of the geometry of the surface. The very, very important point. Suppose for the same boundary, we had another surface whose geometry is such like this one. In this case also, the total internal circulation would have been 0. let's say we take another arbitrary surface. You can see if this is the direction of the circulation, so at this path, at this path, or at this path, or in this path, for this circulation, the direction is in, it goes this way, and for this, the direction is opposite. Hence, it cancel out. Similarly, it will be the case of for these two adjacent circulations, except at the boundary where the direction of circulation is in this direction. These are contributing, but these are cancelling. So it doesn't matter what is the shape of the geometry we have considered. It can be triangular as well, conical as well. You will see an example that the total circulation is independent of the geometry of surface. Now let us calculate the total circulation. For, let's say there are so many circulations present, then let's sum up all those circulations. Then this circulation can be divided as the internal circulations as well as the boundary circulations. Now we saw that the internal circulation cancel out each other, so there is no net internal circulation. This is zero. We are only left with the boundary circulations. Now taking limit del s tends to 0, this sum will be changed into an integral form, and we know that the net circulation is given by the line integral, closed integral. Then this relation is called the Stokes theorem. As you can see, the line integral is transformed into the surface integral. Finally, we can give a definition to Stokes theorem as it states that the surface integral of the curl of a vector, the surface integral of the curl of vector over in open surface, very important point, equals to the closed line integral of the vector along the contour bounding the surface. Same thing here. This is an open surface and this is the contour bounding the surface. Then the line integral will be equal to, this is nothing but the net circulation. We can transform from the line integral to the surface integral, where the boundary of the surface S is nothing but the contour L, and this side of the integral is closed, but this side of the integral is open because we are considering an open surface. Now let us see one more point. Since this is Stokes theorem is applicable for open surface, but what will happen if we try to close the surface? Suppose this is the open surface. Now what we are doing? We are trying to close the surface. Now we have closed the surface. The question is, what will be the total circulation if the surface is closed? Now in that case, we see applying right hand thumb rule. Now this is the complete closed surface. then this complete surface, if we are taking the surface integral of the kernel of f, then with the help of Stokes theorem, it will be transformed into the line integral. Then there will be line integral for this loop which is bounding this surface S1, and then there will be a line integral which is bounding this particular surface S2. And then by right hand thumb rule, if this, for this surface, the circulation will be in this direction, and for this surface the circulation will be in this direction. And as you can see, this direction is nothing but equal and opposite circulation. Equal and opposite circulation. Then both will cancel out each other, and hence total circulation for a closed surface is 0 always. So Stokes theorem is applicable for open surfaces which are bounded by a contour, closed contour L, and for any closed surface the net circulation will be 0. Let's see, for example, before doing this example, you must keep in mind this point. The net internal circulation over the surface 0, hence the total circulation is independent of the geometry of the surface. No matter whatever geometry we are considering, it is independent of the circulations that we are calculating. For example, verify Stokes theorem bounding the contour in the xy plane with the vector. This is the vector given. We have to find the circulation over this closed path L, which is situated in the xy plane with origin as the center. Now there are three geometries are present. One, the flat circular surface given by the green colored area, and then there is hemispherical surface, another surface, and then the cylindrical surface. Then for these three surfaces, let us come. This is, let's say, surface A, this sphere is surface B, and this cylindrical is surface C. Then let us verify Stokes theorem separately. Then at first, now for both of these three surfaces, they have a common boundary, which is the L. Now let us find the circulation of vector A using the line integral. Now for this circular length, we have to apply a cylindrical representation. Then you can say this must be d phi, and if this length is, using the cylindrical system, this length must be rho d phi, and this direction must be the a phi direction, the changing phi direction. That means the differential length is given by rho d phi and the direction is a phi, and this is our vector field. Taking dot product with a phi and a phi, and dot with a phi and az will be 0. Dot product. Finally, you can do simple integration, and of course the radial length is r units. Put putting rho is equal to r, we can finally find the line integral as 2 pi r square. Now our purpose is to verify Stokes theorem. That means we have to transform from line integral to surface integral. Now let us consider first case, a flat circular surface. Then line integral must be equal to the surface integral. For the obtaining surface integral, we must obtain the curl of A. Let us obtain the curl of A using the cylindrical system. In this case, we will obtain del cross A as 2az, 2 times of az in the z direction. Then taking the surface integral 2az dot product with the its area is pi r square and its direction is of course in the az direction. Then its dot will be 1. Simply we can obtain 2 pi r square. Then in this case, now we already know that the line integral is 2 pi r square. Hence we can say the line integral equals to the surface integral. Hence LHS is equal to RH is proved. Stokes theorem verified. Now for hemispherical surface, this is a sphere. Then first we must convert, this is representation is cylindrical and this is a spherical symmetry. We need to transform A into spherical coordinate system. Then by using the matrix or vector transformation, we can finally find the A vector in a spherical system r, theta and phi. And then we can, using the formula for curl, we can finally find the surface integral. You obtain the curl in the spherical system and putting this in this formula for surface integral, and this is the differential area. Take any area, differential area over this surface. It should be r square. This distance is r, this is theta, sorry, this is theta, then this is, let's say, d theta, then this length will be r d theta, and similarly this length will be r sin theta d phi, because if you project it downward, then there will be a change in d phi, and this length is r sin theta. That is why this length will be r sin theta into d phi, and hence area will be r d theta multiplied by r sin theta d phi, then r square sin theta d theta d phi, and of course the area, its direction to the normal will be in the AR direction, in the radial direction. Hence AR dot with AR will be 1, but AR dot with A phi will be 0. Finally, on doing integration, we can obtain once again 2 pi r square. Hence we can say the line integral is equal to the surface integral. Hence proved. Stokes theorem. Once again, what we saw, this was the flat surface and this is a hemispherical surface. In both cases, the Stokes theorem is verified for a common contour L. Let us see the third surface as well, the cylindrical surface. This surface contains two parts, S2, which is the cylindrical part, and the base part. Now for obtaining the surface integral, let's find the curl, which is 2az, and let us divide the surface integral into two parts, S1 and S2. In case of S2, let's see the dot product A rho, the dot product of A rho, this is the A rho direction, and we are trying to taking dot product at 90 degree, and dot product must be 0. That is why this is 0. we are left with this surface. Then the area of this surface is pi r square, and its direction will be in the z direction. We are simply taking the dot product because the curl of A is 2az, and finally it comes out as 2 pi r square, which is again equal to the line integral A dot dl that we had obtained earlier. Once again, Stokes theorem is verified. What we saw, it doesn't matter with whether the geometry is cylindrical or hemispherical or flat circular. No matter what, it is independent. The net circulation is independent of the shape of the surface considered. Can I see the note point here? Since all the three surfaces with common boundary contour, the circulation is independent of the shape of the surface chosen. This is very important point about the Stokes theorem. If this is the circulation, no matter what is the shape of the surface, let's say this is surface 1, S1, we have another surface S2, all having common boundary. Just take a third surface S3, in all the three cases, same surface, same value of surface integral. And the reason is the net internal circulation, the net internal circulation of the surface is 0. That is the reason it is independent of the geometry of the surface. This is all about the curl and the Stokes theorem. So thank you.